History's been erased and it's being controlled by mutant Mongols. Let me explain. You remember the movie V for Vendetta? How they were all brought up in those buildings? You know what I'm saying? Those clone children with a specific purpose as agents, as mercenaries. Yeah. I want to talk about Tartaria. Tartaria literally existed, they say, from the 1200s to the late 1700s, right? But during this time, a lot of wars happened, bro, right? And I want you to think about the Renaissance era, right? I want you to think about when Rome fell. So Rome supposedly fell around 476 CE, and it lasted till about 1453 CE, okay? But Rome didn't collapse overnight, right? They decentralized, they outsourced their power, and then they rebranded. All of these Mongols, bro, they literally interbreed. They manipulated situations to usurp the actual power and authority. I want y'all to think about something real quick, sidestep. The reason life feels like slavery, the reason, you know what I'm saying, it's only like a 10%, 1% that are super wealthy controlling everything, is because they are the actual mutants that usurp power and they stole it. And, you know, life feels like slavery whenever you got the prisoner running a jail. I want you to think about that. They're not supposed to be in control. They don't have the mindset for it. People have to take the power back. Now, when you think about it, right, they say we entered the Dark Ages, right, around 476 CE till about 1500s. The real truth is, if they erased all of the history, then we're still in the Dark Ages, bro. I want y'all to understand something. So listen, ancient Rome, bro, back in the day. So let's really go into this. Tartaria was a civilization of multiple cultures, right? Mulatto, black, but darker skin tones, okay? They were supposedly technologically more advanced than a lot of people, right? What happened was, what it looks like what happened was, is during this era, right, from the 1200s, the Mongol conquest started to happen. Okay, so now this is led by Genghis Khan. Now these people were subjected to war to basically overthrow authority, dog. Now, once they did that, they basically inserted themselves. That's what it looks like. It looks like they inserted themselves in the history books and basically whitewashed all of the art. Some of this art is still hidden in France, Paris, all of this crap, right? And then they destroyed it. War in the 1200s broke the world, literally. And the Gutenberg press in 1440, that literally mind controlled everybody because they started pushing the Bible, right? Mass replication, standardization of text. They basically created laws, contracts, Bibles, and orders and authority and control, bro. So the printing press was administrative warfare, bro. So after they usurped power, they did change history and then mind control people with this crap. Okay, so they used the press as an actual weapon, bro. So the printing press destabilized authority. Now, I want you to think about today's actual literal equivalent, that is the internet algorithms, platform control. Okay, so it's the same war, different media. Okay, so the sword will break the body, the press will break an empire. This is why every age fights to control information. Why do you think to this day they still trying to control your data? A lot of people would like to think that they built something. These people of these cultures, they didn't build anything. These buildings were already around. I want you to think about some of these schools. I want you to think about, see, this is why I'm bringing up clones and V for Vendetta. Napoleon, they had multiple Napoleons. I think they were all clones. Look at some of these hospitals, but I don't think these hospitals and psych wards were just hospitals and psych wards. I think they were training grounds for the actual clones who every generation was, their history was erased. So they basically taught them something different with every generation of these new clones. Now, there's this guy, Illich, right? He argued that the early Middle Ages never actually happened, okay? So the period between AD 614 and 911, it never actually occurred, which means that Charlemagne, who reigned from 768 to 814, was actually a fabrication, just like King Arthur, bro. I want y'all to think about Da Vinci, made up, Caesar, no actual portraits of this dude to this day, bro. Basically, a lot of these major figures were fabricated. They wrote themselves into history to make themselves look good. Do you understand? How was this dude, Leonardo, good at painting, structures, engineering? I'm talking, bro, you know how long it takes to master these crafts? Come on, bro. He's made up, bro. Listen, the world wars they created these world wars to basically destroy buildings, dog, and erase the art and hide the art, bro. They use war to justify destroying this stuff to separate themselves from their actual black history, bro. Let's keep going. I got a bunch of notes. So from the medieval period onward, literacy was literally controlled by churches, courts, empires, right? Most history was written by what? European clerics, court historians, colonial administrators. If people didn't control printing, didn't control archives, or didn't control universities, their history was minimized or framed as primitive, bro. That's not erasure by explosion, because I'm pretty sure they was using dynamite. That's erasure by omission and narrative framing. I want y'all to understand something else. Tartaria was advanced. So you can't actually think that painting, stencil, computer-generated AI, all of this stuff, bro, I think it was actually pre-existing. If you look at a lot of these old pictures, bro, the white in these skies, bro, it all looks the same. Look at this crap. This junk is made up, bro. Bro, it's made up, bro. Look at it, bro. Use your mind. Use your mind. There were too many wars and too many people who were not comfortable running the show to where they had to fight and they tried to take power and they actually did, bro. That's literally what it is. They use these wars to control popes, to control the church, politics, and your public perspective. For the people who actually think that they're just so advanced, like they just created so much stuff, right? All of these your historical figures, bro, what do wars do? Destroy archives, collapse courts, kill scholars, and disrupt oral transmission. The truth, bro. Okay, this happened in North Africa, the Middle East, parts of West Africa, Central Asia, right? Gaps formed in the history, okay? Which is not technically a reset, but it compels a lack of knowledge and information, which is like a reset. After 1450, bro, you got to understand history was favoring who? Printed languages and Latin-based, Christian institutions, European legal frameworks, right? Oral traditions and non-European scripts were ignored, untranslated, dismissed as myth. That's not neutral, bro. That is literally a structural bias, dude. These people fear what they don't understand, and they wanted to try to destroy it. What's funny is black history, and this ain't about black people at all. This is just about history of mutants. Why do y'all think they interbreed within the family? They are literally clones. See, this is something that I speculate, and I can't actually say for sure, but I believe that these clones, whenever you create a clone and interbreed, and they using some technology to do this as well, it allows for a soulless vessel to be intact and to take over and possessed by a fallen angel, bro. I think that these fallen deities inhabit these clone bodies, almost like that movie, that Frankenstein movie from back in 2014, bro. Literally, I think that these are empty vessels that are being used for fallen angels to keep controlling this show, bro. And this is something that you got to really think about. Why do you think blood, human trafficking, child trafficking is a global problem? $1 billion industry, and they're making more money. Why do you think these celebrities dress as angels and demons? What are they actually trying to tell us, bro? Are they the fallen, bro? Think about it. Think about it, bro. Could there be some truth in these demons trying to control the world, which is exactly what it looks like they're doing? Now, this video is satire. It's all entertainment. But if you do the research, it looks like a lot of these wars destroyed history, the real history. These people wrote themselves in. They created this illusion, and they control people through religion, politics, and fake history, bro. Literally. I'm going to wrap this up with this. During centuries of constant war, bro, collapse, consolidation, history wasn't just written by the victors, bro. It was simplified by these idiots. Complex civilizations were reduced to footnotes, bro. Entire people were flattened into stereotypes, and black history in particular was filtered through conquest, slavery, and colonial record keeping. That doesn't mean history was magically erased, y'all. It just means it was archived through a lens of the new power, bro. So when people say this stuff don't add up over time, the answer isn't fantasy. It's literally a structure, bro. Who had the pens, who had the presses, who controlled the institutions, and who didn't? The truth doesn't need to be exaggerated, dog. It only needs the courage to look past the version that was made convenient. History wasn't stolen. It was curated, bro. And black history specifically wasn't erased. It was compressed, reframed, and written by people who benefited from minimizing it, dog. If history feels incomplete, not only is that not an accident, that's literally a power signature, bro.